Thanks, Debbie. Hi, all. Yes, it's the return of PowerPoint. So I'd like to share with you today an innovation that we were forced into making. Necessity is, after all, the mother of invention. We were forced to answer the question, how do we align reward to strategy to drive behavior? So the classic question, as a result of a change in CEO, so we've had a new CEO for about 3 years now, and a new strategy. And that new strategy looked at the business afresh and said, the mission statement of the company needs to change. There are, in our field, about 70 million potential customers of Sage, and we need to go out and get them. So we knew that in reward terms, we needed to think about things more about potential and less about just doing what was good enough. So when we thought about things in terms of how we look at how reward is packaged up technology-wise, we didn't have a total reward statement or any one of these cool gadgets that provides a simple statement of what the elements of the package are. And we didn't think that that was going to be enough for us, so we teamed up with an agency called Cabe & Hope and created something that we think is unique to us. I'm just going to share with you on the next slide. Hopefully you can see what it actually means. Effectively, what we've got here is a highly visual system that allows us to align reward with the business strategy through this concept of potential to drive change, the behavior change. So this is effectively the dashboard bit, and down the left-hand side you've got various modules that you can click on. So there's bonus, there's long-term incentives. The whole idea here is around being able to click into various parts of your package, much like you would with a total reward statement, but unlike a traditional total reward statement, your fate is in your hands. You're able to model what outcomes look like in terms of your reward on a two-stroke basis. So there's modelers that you can go in and play around with against the performance conditions that are set at the beginning of the year, but also we can upload for ourselves performance forecasts and tie it into the performance reporting cadence of the business. So people can see what it looks like when we're on track and how they can exceed those expectations and what being on track looks like in order to achieve your potential. Now, I wish I could show you the whole system because I'm incredibly passionate about it, but you could probably see the black box in the top right-hand corner when it talks about model your potential. When you start to play around with the features of the site, it actually comes up with different messages and says where you are in relation to your overall reward potential. When we talk about reward potential, it's principally money-driven. So in that sense, it's similar to a traditional total reward statement. And then we've got I've put break and channel fatigue at the top. Roger touched on it before in particular, where we're bombarded with messages in our everyday life. One of the ways in which we try to break channel fatigue is by embedding this as an app. So senior leaders have this as an app, and we can push notifications through to them so that we can ensure that only the right messages go to them at the right time, and they can engage with it when appropriate. I just want to conclude by talking about Google Analytics. So it's something that that I believe everyone in this room should be using if you have websites and digital-based media to drive out your rewards. Google Analytics, there's a free version of it. We don't pay for it, we use a free version. What this shows is a user flow, so this is just one part of Google Analytics. And we can see how people interact with the app and the website. And we can see in this example here that the shares part of the website for this particular month for the data cut is the most popular part of the site. So when we're making investment decisions and communication decisions on where to focus things, we can see clearly using Google Analytics how what the focus and emphasis should be. So in summary, thanks for your time, and appreciate it.
And coming up again on the AI and user experience theme is Toria McCahill, who is Associate HR Director, Group Functions and Reward at the BGL Group.
Just what you want at 4:30 on a Thursday afternoon, AI and MI. First of all, I want to ask, how many of you use MI for your decision-making day to day? Quite a good number, that's good. I use it for everything. You know, I think I use MI to really drive what my decisions are, because there's nothing worse than when I've joined organisations and asked, why do you give employees that benefit? Why are we having that as an offering? For the response to be, well, we're doing best practice because our competitors do it, or we've just always done that. I don't think there's anything such as best practice when it comes to benefits, and I use MI to actually display that. And it's very different for every organisation, whether it's in the same industry, whether it's a competitor in the same location. I found through all of my surveys and all the questions I've asked with my employees, it's been very, very different, depending on the culture of where I've been. So how do we use MI to help with that offering? Well, we're not all the same. I'm not some trendy 21-year-old, as much as I wish I was. I'm also not lucky enough to be retiring yet, working on it. So we need to make sure there is something for everyone. We've heard a lot of providers today talking about the great solutions they've got, and there's been some huge investment in technology, which I think is fabulous, and it really excites me. But I saw a lot of questions on Sido today asking, how do we get that personal information from employees? Well, my answer to that would be ask them. When you're doing employee benefits questions, don't stick with the, what do you think about our benefits offering today? Because they'll tell you, will that be good or bad? But ask them what they do in their spare time. What interests them at home? Do they have children? And if so, how old are those children? Do they have elderly dependents? You know, what are their priorities in life? Because I think that information really helps with your benefit offering. It takes away the vanilla. So build up your data and actually use that to work out what you're going to do. And to me, that makes MI, sexy MI, because it really is tailoring it, and you can then tailor your package to your employees' needs and wants. Now, I've worked for plenty of organisations. I've installed 6 flexible benefit systems, and one organisation I worked where we had one, the take-up was 30%, which I thought, we're using all this money, you know, we're spending all this money on a great system, but we haven't asked employees what they want. So we upped that to 98.5%, and that really was by going out with a really bespoke survey. So for me, it's really, really tailor those questions to your employees. So moving on from MI to AI, how many of you use AI today in your business? A lot less. Good to see a couple of hands. But I really hope that I can stand here in 5 years' time, and as many of you put your hands up for MI, put your hands up for AI. AI, I used to be absolutely petrified of it. I didn't know what it was. So I asked a trendy 21-year-old to explain it to me, which they did. And they said, think of LinkedIn. Think of when you first joined LinkedIn. You basically had to be sort of related to somebody to be able to connect with them. Now, we have recruiters who can use it. And they use it because of all the information you put in there about your skill sets and about your peers who've, you know, recommended you. So think about that. That's AI, and that's come on a long way. It's taken some time, but actually, I think LinkedIn is a fantastic tool now for recruitment. Amazon, every day it recommends something for me to buy, much to my husband's delight. Programmatic, again, another lovely tech word, but that's where you're looking on John Lewis for a new pair of shoes or a table. You move over to Facebook, and there's those shoes and that table in the banner. That's programmatic. What it will lead to is, in the future, we'll all be watching the same television programme, but when the adverts come on, you'll have specific adverts tailored to your family and your buying habits. So we should be able to really use this for what we could do for employee benefits. So no longer does AI scare me, but it really, really excites me, and I'm really excited about the future. So I look forward to what the providers are going to do coming forward. Thank you.